Alright, hello. We are back again. Wally's internet is being kinda dumb, so it's back to me for now for the run transitions. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Looks like he is back online, so we'll see if he's good after this run. But in the meantime, we have SRT1 coming up. We have two back-to-back runs of that. So we'll be having 80% NBS, and then normal 80% after. By 2Chaimz, followed by Toasted Cat, so I'm sure they will have plenty of time to explain what that means with each category there. So, I'm just going to save some time here. You guys can just, I'll hand it off to you guys, and you can just count down, and we can go from there.
Alright, awesome. Alright, what up, everybody? I'm 2Chaimz, here with Mr. Theodore the Toasted Cat.
Hello.
Today we got SRT1, any percent NBS, which is just essentially any percent, like, no major skips. That's essentially what it is. So it's like OG any, but better, because we're cooler.
80% no funny business.
Yep. But we have plenty of time to explain things on some of these loads, so we're just going to hop right into it. We're going to start timing on go. 3, 2, 1, go.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to be skipping all the loads this run.
So 80% NBS stands for any percent no balloonist skip. Toasted Cat's going to be doing any percent right after this run, which he's going to be doing balloonist skip. So this run, we're not doing that. And today we're also going to do something really special. We are going to go for RTA world record, because we're a bit of gamers in here. And I guess to kind of explain how we're going to be doing that, so I'm definitely not going to be playing up to the level of world record, but we're going to do a trick called fly and skip on as many levels as we possibly can. Fly and skips are just basically the exact frame Spyro touches a level portal. We can pause the game, and we can quit game and continue, and it's going to start us right at the beginning of a level, skipping all the loads. So for loadless, it saves time only on a few levels, but for RTA, it's going to save time every time we hit it. So we're only going to be going for it. We're going to not go for it on certain levels like flight levels, Alpine Ridge, and Town Square, so we can also avoid messing up any cycles. But yeah, so the routes changed a lot since I've started playing. Obviously, unlike OG any percent, we actually start with Sunny Flight. Gives us a quick 300 gems. It's worth it loadless in reality. So our route now starts with Sunny Flight. Bit of a pain, but we're also going to go for a frame perfect pause here. Probably miss it, but that's all right.
Yeah, so what he's going to try and do here is if he can break this chest and then pause on the same frame, and yeah, it looks like he missed it. But yeah, if you can pause on the exact same frame, you can then guidebook out to Artisans, and it skips having to watch the animation. There's no actual animation cancel that we'll do by just bonking into the wall, and we'll do that on all the other flights. But for Sunny Flight, it's just a little bit faster to get that pause, because we need to, if you don't do that, then you have to retry the flight and then guidebook out, which is a little bit faster than quitting.
Yep. And I forgot to do fly and skip on the longest load level.
Oh, no. RTA world record dead already?
No. So obviously everyone complains about this game having like really long loads. I've been running this game for over a year and a half, and honestly, I can safely say I don't mind the loads. Just gives you time in between levels, like if you're streaming, look at chat, talk with people, maybe take a sip of your drink.
You get to appreciate the game more, really.
Yeah. So we're going to be we're doing Stonehill now. There's not a whole lot to this level, and specifically in Artisans, we're not really going to stay in Artisans a lot. We're just going to get our 10 dragons and go, strictly because all the other dragons that we're not getting are slow, and there's not really a whole lot of high-value gems in Artisans, so there's no point in actually playing a lot of Artisans. So we're just going to try to get through Artisans as fast as we can.
Yeah, if you don't know, the you have to meet a like collectible requirement to go to the next homeworld from the one you're in. And you need 10 dragons to leave artisans, 1200 gems to leave peacekeepers, 5 eggs to leave magic crafters, 50 dragons to leave peacemakers, and 6,000 gems to leave dreamweavers. So most of our time here is just getting the 10 dragons we need and then heading off to peacekeepers.
Yeah, find a way to skip Stonehill. I wish. That'd be funny.
James, you forgot the fly and skip again.
No, I said I'm not going for it on Town Square. I don't want to mess up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm also not doing Alpine or flights. Everything else I'm going for, though. We're trying. We're going to be trying.
So coming up right here is a trick called Fairy Proxy. For whatever reason, on this dragon, as far as we know, only this one, by standing in just the right spot, the fairy will pick you up from this animation right here, just like that. And then you can just use that to jump up here and get to Thor early. Saves having to like run around the whole level and get up here the intended way. So you just got like 3 dragons in the span of 10 seconds. And then we mentioned it before, but what 2Chaimz is going to do here is open the guidebook, which if you only play the original games, they added a feature in the Reignited Trilogy where you can actually select levels you've already been to and teleport back to there. So because we've already been to Artisans, he can just warp out of Town Square and go straight to the start of the level where Nestor is. Also, he skipped Nestor.
Yep. So in this game, just like the original, you're not supposed to be able to skip Nestor. But if we jump as we hit Nestor, for some reason, we're actually just able to completely skip his cutscene, which saves about roughly like 25-ish seconds, I think.
Yeah, about.
Something around that. All right, so now we're heading into Peacekeepers. We're going to be playing through every level. There's a good bit of gems here and also a lot of dragons. So we're going to be trying to get... From this point on, we're going to be doing every level in every homeworld besides Dreamweavers, because at that point, you'll see we don't need a whole lot more. But yeah, so we're going to be doing Peacekeepers. We're going to go for our first fly-in skip here, I guess. And I don't hit it. That's all right.
Yeah, like we said before, he's a frame-perfect pause, and he is running on 50 FPS. So
only 1/50th of a second to hit it, so...
It's also no...
Pause.
There's not any sort of visual cue or anything to help. You just kind of have to guess when you're touching the portal, so... Also to clarify, it does save RTA for every level, but it only saves loadless time, which is what our main timing method for this game, at least on PC, on a handful of levels. So normally you'd only do this on 3, or like 2 levels now. But like we said, 2Chaimz is going for them on all of the levels for the most part.
And kind of speaking on that, so if y'all were here for the 2 Innie run with House and Groxu, we are running on 50 FPS. So FPS affects jump height in this game because of the engine it was made on. And we are running at 50 FPS. Normally, I would prefer to run on 60 FPS, but the problem with that in this game is a level called Alpine Ridge just completely breaks on 60 FPS. So playing on 50 FPS makes a couple jumps a tad bit easier and also makes Alpine a playable level. And we'll talk more about that when we get there. But coming up, we have Clifftown. It's actually a pretty challenging level. It's the hardest level in Peacekeepers. And I'd say it's the hardest level early game. And we're going to go for a flying skip here. And right there, we get it. So on the pause, what I'm looking for is to say exit level, because when it says that, the game assumes that we're actually in Clifftown. So we just quit game continue, and we completely skip the loads. And this level, I think for a loadless, it saves about 4.5 seconds to hit that flying skip.
Yeah, it's 4.5.
All right, so that first jump's a little tricky sometimes. Firework can be bad. Thief is a little hard for new players. And then the overall movement in this level from here on, it's not like the easiest. You got to kind of focus up a bit. So, like I said, we just dropped a 5 gem because, you know, challenging. That's all right.
Yeah, something you may have seen when 2Chaimz was going for that difficult jump around where the thief was is that Spyro kind of did like a little flutter and then got up onto the ledge. This game has it's called an auto hover, or that's at least what we call it, where if you like just barely miss a ledge but you're still really close, it'll just like give Spyro a little push and get you up, which casually is supposed to be just like a little baby mechanic to help you out. But for this game, it lets us make a couple of jumps that are impossible otherwise, and then otherwise from that you don't want to see it because it just wastes a little bit of time.
And that's Clifftown. Now, I wouldn't say sort of recently, but you know, it's the newest version of the Peacekeepers. We're actually going to be going for this one jump here in the homeworld. Doesn't look like it's possible, but it is because Toys for Bob is very good at this, making games. And bam, just like that, we can just go through a solid object because it has no collision for some reason.
Just on the side right there.
Just in that one spot. It's only on the left side of that pillar, nowhere else. And that was found by Groxu321.
Wow, you're gonna shout out the one thing Groxy found, but not all of the things I found. Rude.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna be doing night fight here. Flight levels on this game, honestly, pretty easy. I would say the hardest one is Wild Flight because that one can be a little tight sometimes. But this level is probably the easiest, considering that every single target that we're going for is just stationary, so we don't have to worry about cycles or anything like that. And obviously, flying close to the water in this game, it is an intended mechanic. It makes you fly faster. So in a lot of flight levels, you'll see we're just trying to fly as close to the water as possible.
Yeah, you can charge down, like if by hitting charge, you'll start a charge and stop flying, so you can sink really quickly and then continue a glide. So you'll see anytime he's going to charge straight down to the water and then fly as close as he can to it.
All right, 102.4, that's actually a pretty good time right there. Yeah. And then obviously we end on that lighthouse because then we can get the little animation cancel by touching a piece of geometry in the, like at the start of the animation. Obviously it just cancels the whole animation so we can exit the level quicker. Now we got Shimp. This level's pretty easy and very fast because we actually don't do Shimp at all. We don't need him. He's not worth it. He's too slow. Unless you use my patented Dr. Shimp skip for Neo Vortex. Am I right?
No, you're not right.
Yeah. And one cool thing about this, OG players may not know, is these big mamas that are sniping all these like smaller guys, when they die, their gems actually automatically home in, as you saw right there. They automatically home in on us, so we don't actually have to worry about them at all. Then we just end on the dragon. Bam.
It's weird how they decided like some enemies would home in when the original game didn't, and some won't when the original game did. Kind of just at random they decided.
Alright, and in case you guys are wondering, Spyro does look a little bit different. This is called Mustard Spyro, alright? He's got some cool shades. He's living it up, alright? But now we got Ice Cavern. Not a whole lot in this level. There's like a fun little thing to do that skips what is usually called like magic stairs. We don't have to really do that anymore. There is There's really nothing notable in this level, to be honest. I just think it's probably the best looking level. I just like its design and everything. But as you guys may notice, the higher the so this homeworld, we're seeing a lot more 5s and 10 gems, as opposed to Artisans, where it was mostly like greens and reds with some blues, really no yellows. But we're getting a bunch of yellow and blue gems here because we're trying to obviously get gems for late game.
Yeah, obviously we're trying to get a lot of gems, so the higher value gems, the better. They kind of scale as you get through the game, so the later you get, the higher value the gems tend to be. So a lot of artisans, all of artisans pretty much, and a lot of peacekeepers is just running through and looking for those high value ones and maybe getting some lower value ones if they're right in the way. We don't really detour away from like getting dragons at all.
And the one guy that we just killed, we can actually, you're meant to hit him at least 2 times. But we can kill him on just the first hit because it's not when he falls off he dies. The game actually checks for a change in elevation. And if his elevation changes, he is considered to be dead by the game. And we actually bonk him onto the chest. And it kind of changes his elevation a little bit. So we kind of tricked the game into killing him early. And then you'll see me doing these jumps every time I get to Balloonist. It has no value RTA. I just do it because we do it for loadless. It's a trick called EBL. Saves 2.5 seconds on each Balloonist because we can kind of manipulate the timer a bit with it. But like I said, it has no value here. And I've just realized I've been forgetting to still go for flying skips. I'm so not used to it.
There's muscle memory through everything.
Yep, so we're gonna fly and skip, fly and skip, fly and skip. And then obviously with thieves in this game, when we kill them, if we're in the air, when we kill them, we skip the little cutscene that they usually give us for like collecting the egg and stuff like that. And, yep, flying skip's hard. So for NBS and SRT, we do high caves first versus OG doing like Alpine first. Because, you know, we have guide booking. So we can do some fancy routing with guide booking. Console actually does even more fancy stuff with their guide booking because instead of like loadless timers or RTA, they actually have to use IGT. And IGT, certain things are just faster than loadless. So they actually do some different stuff than we do. Magic Crafters introduces us to a brand new thing called Supercharges. And they are pretty fun in SRT. Yep.
Yeah, you'll see the first ramp in this level. We don't use it for very long, but you'll get an idea of what we're going to be doing later.
Yeah. So for supercharges, we used to use controller, but we found that using keyboard and mouse, we can actually abuse supercharges a lot more. Because if by turning with the mouse instead of like a controller input or A and D on the keyboard, we can actually do some very sharp turns, which allows us to completely abuse the mechanic. And it's even cooler in 120 for this game because you can do even crazier stuff with it because you use it for more stuff.
It's quite a bit more of it. You go into more levels with Supercharge. You hold it longer because you got to get everything, but it's still very cool in NBS. This is gonna be the first like real keyboard mouse Supercharge.
All right, we're at 1999 gems so far. That's not like an awful gem count. Usually, like, I believe without dropping any gems, like 2012 is where I'm wanting to be at entering Alpine. But we're only 13 or yeah, about 13 behind. Not a big deal. We'll be able to make up any gems if we get too low. But Alpine here, we actually have, this is one of the levels we don't fly and skip, even though it would save time, strictly because it would mess up these cycles on what we call fast Alpine. All right, and
So
then
it
we're going to
doesn't
miss that
save time.
engine. Well, technically it saves time for the load part. But, yeah. So we missed that 10 gem. Obviously, even though it's a 10 gem, and normally I wouldn't want to skip that, that one specifically we will have to skip because if I stop to get it, I'm gonna miss fast Alpine, and then we can beat this wizard here. And I think I just died. I accidentally rolled when I flamed him, so the flame completely missed. Lol. So what happened there is because I didn't kill him, the platform was still raised. So when Spyro touches a dragon, obviously he like walks to a certain spot, but the spot he's supposed to walk to is blocked because the platform is still raised. So what happened is he just walked off the edge there.
You got all the cycles left, right? So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Quick little death.
And then we're going to be guidebooking it back to High Caves. And then we'll exit level to put us at the top of the ramp and everything. So that way we can get into Wizard Peak pretty fast. This supercharge we're about to do, like High Caves, is also pretty short, nothing interesting. We're just going to be obviously doing some turns that normally we wouldn't be able to do on any other input. But yeah, it allows us to do all these crazy turns. And this is the first, so Wizard Peak, this level is probably the first actual challenging supercharge of the run. Like getting everything in this charge can be pretty challenging. So we're gonna try and go for it. So I'm gonna kind of focus up a bit if you want to talk about it more.
Yeah, if you were disappointed by the lack of bike caves, it's gonna more than make up for it here. So like we said, 2Chaimz is gonna be using the mouse to like steer Spyro when he's turning, and that lets him turn a lot sharper than he would be able to on controller. So, but most people feel more comfortable playing this game on controller. So right now he's on controller, and when he gets to the dragon here, he's gonna switch over to keyboard and mouse. But obviously when you're supercharging, you have the benefits of you're going a lot faster. You instantly smash through things like fan chest, strong chest, enemies, and you can also just get around the level quicker.
Oh, all right. That was almost perfect. Okay.
Oh man, that was so close. Missed a couple gems, but otherwise very good.
And now that we're on green sparks, gotta pick up an extra fodder outside of blowhard, because we want to be specifically on blue sparks entering blowhard, because we're just gamers.
Also, you may have just noticed it there. The thieves in this game are actually pretty tricky. We try and like manip them all into running straight into you, but when you don't, they can be very annoying to get.
Alright, gem counts still looking pretty good, not gonna lie. I've been on worse. Alright, so Crystal Flight, I would say, is probably the second hardest flight level, just because of these planes, right? Everyone hates the planes. It's a lot easier in SRT than it is in OG, though, for sure. Especially once you get the hang of it.
I disagree.
Now, something that is always kind of a problem, especially in this level and Wild Flight, these arches, when they break, these pieces fly out, and they actually still have collision, so they can push Spyro. And sometimes, like in these runs, I've had it happen quite a few times, these arch pieces that break off will actually push Spyro straight into the water and just kill a run. So you just got to be kind of careful. That's why I like to be a bit more above the water than usual when I'm flying through arches. So that way I can avoid any arch pieces kind of pushing me straight into the water. And then now we are going to be going to below hard. Arguably the worst level in the game, at least for me. This level has a pretty tight cycle that you have to play the first initial phase of blowhard perfectly, or else you miss the fast cycle. So I always have problems hitting it. We're gonna see if we hit it here. Probably won't, but we're gonna try.
Also, these enemy cycles are a little random, so you have to like react to what they do so that you don't get shocked.
Yep. So if
And
this
hit.
first wizard shoots before I get to him, we instantly miss fast cycle because I'll have to stop and wait for him so I don't get hit. Yep. Damn. Also, something to note, these spring chests, you'll see me not flaming when I get to them a lot, because in this game, if you jump, like if you charge jump at the right time, you can actually, like, the back of Spyro's hitbox will hit the spring chest, sending the gem obviously flying into the air, and because we jump, we're gonna also instantly just jump into it. So that's something that we have that's pretty cool. Some places we don't do it, especially like in spots where there are like 2 or 3 spring chests right next to each other. We'll just go for like a flame and try and get all of them in one jump, like that. But other times we won't. And see there, we did damage abuse and we were sparksless, but with a bit of practice, the movement after that last firework, it's easy. So we don't need sparks there for that. So we can abuse the damage, make it faster. And then we'll just pick up sparks right here. So, kind of like awesome, really good gem count right here. Probably about 3480 ish. We're at 3459. Really not awful. There are a few extra gems that we can pick up that don't really lose that much time. And they're all 5 gems, so we can make some of it back up. Yeah, okay, I think I'm just dropping the fly-in skips.
I was gonna say RTA record's looking a little dicey right now. Like a minute behind.
Alright, time to hit every other flying skip. We're gonna be so good, we're gonna hit flying skip on Nasty Nort. Alright, that's how good I am.
Yep, definitely possible.
Alright, so unlike OG any percent, we actually do terrace. Just because we use loadless, so, you know, it's not slow. This level has a good bit of gems, a few dragons that we can collect as well. And we're about to go for a really cool little trick. Hopefully we get it first try. Nice. So what we just did there, torch jump. So that auto hover mechanic that Kat talked about earlier, we kind of use that there to boost us on top of the torch, where we can stand and we can skip a bit of the level.
It just skips having. You can actually jump across the river and make it to the other side, but it's a little bit faster to get on the torch, and you can skip having to do the jump across and then back. The first torch jump of the marathon. You'll be seeing another one later. Couple later. No, House did one.
We won't count it.
Okay, that doesn't count. That was
Nah,
the
that
first
one
torch
doesn't
jump of the
count.
marathon.
Yep, this was first ever seen. Hoverless auto hover torch. Oh yeah, House actually did 2 torch jumps. Alright.
It's alright, this definitely
So-
isn't the worst torch jump of the marathon.
Yeah. So we were able to kill that boar there. I don't really know why that works. We didn't hit him, but we were still able to kill him. Oh well.
He runs off the edge and dies.
Yeah. He's not as good. He's not as much of a gamer.
The board didn't get
So-
the tutorial on how to hit the X button.
So here we got Wild Flight. Easily the hardest flight level in my opinion. And everything's it's a very tight cycle, so yep. I'm just gonna go into it.
Is that you can see that the best way to do wild flight is you go backwards against the boats and you do the boats and the arches at the same time, which makes it a little bit harder to make sure you get everything, but a lot faster than going around the other way. And then he's got to make sure he's on cycle for all these planes right here. Very good wild flight though.
Yeah. Also, so fly and skip on Misty Bog is another level that saves time loadless. Also, another cool thing about fly and skips, you can also use them like in runs to refill your sparks if you need it. So I was green sparks entering Misty Bog, but with Quick Game Continue, it will always put you on gold sparks. So I'll have extra health for this level where we do an intentional damage abuse and then we have frogs.
Yeah, by jumping over and going through the water for one hit, you can skip straight to the end of the level. So he's going to do most of the level backwards. Or not backwards, but like all out of order. Misty Bog's well known for its brutal enemies, and it's very true in a speedrun as well. The frogs can be very annoying. To get them quickly, you have to like jump over their tongue and then land on them in a specific spot. Because if you go too high, you'll not kill them and just like kind of slide over them. If you go too low, you get hit by the tongue. So gotta like charge them in the forehead.
Yep. We're gonna skip that one enemy just because he's only a green gem. He ain't a big deal.
Very good Misty Bog though.
Yeah, that probably would have been gold. Felt pretty nice.
Are you not running your splits?
Nope.
Oh. What if you PB'd in the marathon?
I can tell you already, I wouldn't. This would not PB. Alright, so treetops, hardest level in NBS. Strictly because it's easy to bonk on a supercharge, and at a high level, any bonks on supercharges just basically kill the run because you just lose so much time. It's not necessarily a hard level to do fast, but to play at a top level, it is hard. But we're gonna try our best here.
It's hard to play fast and good.
Yep.
No cutscene skip. So at the start of the level, you saw there was like a little cutscene where you watch the thief run away. If you actually have like a very small amount of time before it starts, before you can control Spyro, and if you go around, like jump out of the trigger before it starts, then you can just like kind of jump around it and not have to watch it at all. And this is where some keyboard mouse stuff starts. This first use of it is just going to be to get this key chest, which is only because you can't skip the key unlocking the chest like animation. So by supercharging it saves about 4 seconds. And then this next supercharge coming up is the actually difficult one.
Yeah, the idea behind that supercharge is you basically hold it throughout that entire little vortex island area. And you grab everything up top, and then you drop down with the supercharge and keep it to break all the fan chests. Unfortunately, I bonked on the house, or the little hut, kind of ran out of mouse space. Happens.
The most important part was getting through the tree, though, because if you bonk there, you kind of just have to, like, get on the next supercharge ramp, and you have to do, like, a slow wind up and jump back on the ramp, and that's a lot slower.
This is quite a bit of time.
Overall, not a terrible treetops. Not too bad.
Oh my god! What a fly and skip. Alright, now we head into Jank Man. This level can be very jank. More
Not
specifically
usually.
with Metalhead. It can be. It doesn't usually happen, but when it happens, alright?
I hope it happens.
I kind of hope so too. It'd be really funny. We can show everybody how good this game is.
This game is pretty great.
It's pretty good.
So these metalhead cycles are effectively random. They all all the poles load in when you get close enough at different. They load in individually when you get close enough. So there's it's pretty much impossible to control them. So you kind of have to react to how they go on the fly. And then you also need to be charging the enemies that metalhead throws at you, because the gems don't automatically home in when they die. Ooh, that second phase was nice.
Almost.
Almost. And yeah. Also, in the second phase, those poles are supposed to all turn red as soon as Metalhead gets to a spot. But if you're close enough to them, some of them won't. And that part's also kind of random. And you saw 2Chaimz there got the first 4 were off. And I don't think I've ever seen that before, actually.
I've seen the first 2.
I've seen 3 a handful of times, but I've never seen 4.
Yeah, I'm just a bit of a gamer.
Marathon strats.
All right, so leaving Beastmakers, the magic number, right, is 5150. It's not a good gym count, but you'll be able to survive with a really slow Jacques. But we're at 5166, so we actually have a pretty decent Jacques. Be able to skip a few things in my gym route there, and we'll be fine. I normally try to aim for 5175-ish though, because then you have a super fast Jacques. All right, and unlike Artisans, this homeworld has a lot of high value gems, but we're skipping pretty much all the levels, effectively skipping a lot of those gems strictly because we don't really need that many gems anymore. We don't need dragons. So there's no point in us going into every single level for that kind of stuff. I mean, we need about 840 gems, but we get quite a lot here in the homeworld. We get 300 from Icy Flight, and then we're going to be getting around. My gym route has around 350 gems in Jacques, but we're going to obviously be able to skip a lot of that.
Yeah, you might expect that going into some of the Dream Movers levels would be worth it with loadless because there's a lot of high value gems in the last homeworld. But actually no, there's like not a lot that are close to the start, so you'd have to get fairly into the level to get anything worth it. And then by that time it's just too slow.
And then on that cannon, you saw that all of a sudden like it started going faster. So we have two different things. So we have double inputs and triple inputs on the cannons. With
And
double
quadruple
inputs,
if you have three hands.
Yeah. Essentially, we can just overload the game with inputs, and it just makes it turn way faster.
Yeah, every directional input you give from like a different source like adds to the speed. So, no, so like I think I'm the only one who does triple input on the Dream Movers cannon, but you can do left on analog, left on D-pad. Change this too, and you can do left on your keyboard. And if you're insane, you could also do like left on WASD.
Alright, so this level kind of notorious for these lighthouses. Just have extremely bad hitboxes. And the cycle here isn't like very tight, but honestly, missing one lighthouse, depending on your recovery, will mess up the cycle, and then you'll just have like a really slow Icy Flight. You know, honestly, we just kind of make sure to, at least I make sure to just be pretty close to the lighthouses. Make sure I don't miss any lighthouses with flames, because like I said, they have really bad hitboxes.
They're not even that bad. It's just night flight lighthouses. You can flame like a mile underneath the glass and they still light. And this light, you have to actually be on the glass.
Alright, so there we did a pause, frame perfect pause, so we could skip the animation, get out of the level faster. Pretty cool.
The same idea as the Sunny one. You can pause on the same frame, and the game has It's like there's like one frame where the game sees that you've killed all the things, and it gives you all the gems, but it also hasn't taken control away from you, so you can pause on that frame and then just quit out. Oh, now you're going for the fly-ins right at the end.
Yeah, when I remember them, yeah. Alright, if I did my math right, I think
We can only hope you did your math right.
I'm pretty good at math, but I did it really fast while talking in my head, so it may be off. Oh no, I'm gonna be over Jim. No. No.
Not gonna leave on 5559 or 5999.
This is the worst timeline. We're gonna be overgemmed by I think 2. Not fun.
You should have jumped and glid over the red gems down the stairs.
I should have. I didn't.
Oh, didn't even mention, but you can just go through that platform. Or just,
Oh yeah.
You can just jump through in the whirlwind, picks you up, extends like a little bit below.
Alright. Coming into this homeworld, I'll focus up. I'll let you talk. You should explain it after I do it.
Okay, you want me to be quiet while you do it?
Yeah, just because there's a little audio cue.
Okay.
Are you ready to go?
Gonna let
Trick
James
that's
focus.
coming up is COVID.
Yeah.
Found by Mr. Theodore the Toasted Cat.
Aye. I'm a little delayed, so let me know when you hit it, and then I'll
Yeah,
explain
okay.
it.
Alright, we're good.
Okay. So, to explain what just happened, or is happening on stream right now, when you play a dragon cutscene, you lose control of Spyro, and then when you skip it, you get control of Spyro back, like you know how cutscenes work. But what the game doesn't consider is like when you skip the cutscene, if you should have control of Spyro, so it just gives it back to you no matter what. So what we do is a glitch called fairy storage, where you can run off the dragon platform and still replay the cutscene. And then by talking to the
Oh.
balloonist and going to artisans while replaying the cutscene, you can then get on the balloon and then skip the cutscene, which gives you control back of Spyro. And then you can do some movement to get into the invisible portal for Nasty that's still there. It unloads all the geometry, but the portal's like load is still there. Also, this is happening.
Damn.
We have no idea why this happens. The game just kind of freaks out, like you're not supposed to be in here, and then you just save and quit, and it fixes everything.
So I try to flame that second thief around the first corner. It is a pretty tight flame though, so unfortunately I missed it. But oh well. There's a backup. Loses time. Oh well.
There's like that very fast thief Chaimz went for. There's like a little bit slower thief that's still fast, but if you go for the fastest thief, you can't get it. And then there's the slowest fast thief that he just got as the backup.
All right, time will be coming up shortly on the last hit.
Also to note, Nasty actually runs fast in this game, so you kind of have to play well to not miss the one cycle. It's not too bad in MBS, but in 120 it's a nightmare. That was not a balloonist skip. You're using a balloonist to skip something, but you're not like skipping the balloonist itself.
Time is coming. Time.
GG.
GG champ.
You're toast, Nork.
We done it. Alright. And
Pretty good,
that
right?
was any percent NBS. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm not too sad about that.
I would ask you what your loadless time was, but you weren't running your split.
It honestly feels like it would have been a 31. It felt pretty good.
Right, GG, guys. So if I remember right, we have Cat sticking around for the next round, right?
Yep, can't get rid of me that easily.
Yep, nope. You're not quite toasted enough yet.
Yeah.
Did beat console world. So we'll take that.
Alright,
Alright,
so.
well, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Right, so we're going to do a very quick transition here since Cat's run is very short, so we'll be back in probably under a minute or two here. Alright.
Bye bye.